This is the Infinite Receiving Podcast, helping conscious leaders like you tap into a wealth of abundance across all areas of your life and business. My name is Susie Ashworth. I am a single mom of 3 and author of the Sunday Times best-selling book, Infinite Receiving. Crack the code to conscious wealth creation and finally manifest your dream life. On this show, I'll be sharing with you how you can upgrade your identity and your reality to create the life that you have been dreaming of. Because you are ready to be an infinite receiver. Hello, you gorgeous human being. It is Susie Ashworth here, and you are listening to the Infinite Receiving Podcast. And I just want to get straight into it with you this morning. I have got back from my morning walk, and as I stepped out under a blue sky, a wild amount of seagulls, I was feeling deeply grateful and appreciative. And I want to read this paragraph that I wrote in Infinite Receiving. Now, it's a while ago, because this is the experience that I had. And I think that it is so easy for me to forget this. What I know to be true is this. It is totally possible to create a pinch me life. A life where you look around at your friends, your family, the work that you do, and you want to squeal with joy at the life you have created. I know that it is possible to defy the odds and surpass expectations of the group or labels other people may have given to you. Perhaps you've even given to yourself before you were ready to know that something else was available to you. How do I know that for sure? Because I, Susie Ashworth, have done it. And I go on to give a little bit more context in the book. But when I read that, it was like, that's true. That really is your life, and you created this. And what is so interesting is that it's not perfect. I live duality every single day, as every single person on the planet does. And it's really easy when you are in the shadow, when you're in those darker moments, when you're in the space where it doesn't feel like everything's going to plan, that you are doing something wrong. And I write about this in the book too. It's like you cannot good your way into heaven. Infinite receiving isn't about being such a good person, having such pure thoughts, just never doing anything wrong mentally, emotionally, practically, that you can avoid challenge. And I think that this is one of the biggest mistakes that we make as people who are looking to consciously co-create their existence. When we forget this, it is so easy for us to fall into imposter syndrome, like that fear that I'm a fraud because I don't have it all worked out, because I am experiencing challenge right now, because this doesn't feel easy. And all of the other people, everybody else seems to be having it so easy. Everybody else seems to have got it figured out. And here's me over here talking about being able to receive infinitely. And that bit right there, that is not going to plan. Why aren't I being more conscious around that piece? And my awareness today is just, if my life were a piece of paper, what I can be very good at is having this pristine white piece of paper and then focusing my attention on the black dot, whether it's in the middle or slightly off to the side, it doesn't matter where it is, but it's like the ballpoint pen end, like the nib of the ballpoint pen has made a mark on my pristine white A4 piece of paper, and I am pissed about it. And I think that this is a mistake that many of us make. And don't get me wrong, when you're in it, of course, it doesn't feel like the nib of a ballpoint pen. When you're in it, it feels like, or it can feel like you are in the eye of the storm. It can feel like chaos. It can feel like everything is going wrong. But the reality is that is not true. That there are so many things in your life to feel grateful for, to be in deep appreciation for. There are so many areas where abundance is overflowing right now. And you're missing them because your attention is only focused on the dot. And so the invitation for you is to widen your perspective. What else can you see? And that requires you looking up and stepping back. Like, what else is available for me right now? Where am I cutting myself off? And in order for you to do that, I want to be super real with you. It takes bravery. And I use the word bravery over courage very deliberately, because when I looked up the meaning of the word courage in the dictionary, what it said was not being deterred by danger or pain. And I thought to myself, I don't want to think about my business. I don't want to think about my life as dangerous. I'm in a very privileged position to not have to think about my business and my life in life and death terms. You know, I don't have to act as though it is life or death, because it isn't for me. And it probably isn't for you if you are listening to this podcast. For some people, for some women especially, depending on where they are living in the world, it really is life or death. Fortunately, we are not playing that game in this lifetime. So when I looked at the word bravery, I was like, this is actually what is required. And bravery means to show mental or moral strength to face danger, is that word again, fear or difficulty. And that is it. It's the fear or difficulty. And the first kind of fear that you have to face is the owning of your dreams, the owning of your desires, the willingness to say, I'm going to go all in and I am going to do what it takes for as long as it takes, no matter what. And it requires bravery at that very first hump in the road, that very first hurdle that you are going to face. The second you say that this is what I want, most people stop there. Most people take that first sign, that first hurdle, that first hump in the road as a sign that they are not on the right track, that they are not supposed to be going for their dreams and desires, and that they need to stay in their box. And so that widened perspective that we were talking about at the beginning of the episode becomes really narrow again as the focus is just on the hump. Understand that your hump is just a blip, it's a dot in the middle of a beautiful white page, and your job is to be able to see all of the other things that you get to be grateful for, all of the other things that you get to be appreciative for, all of the other areas of abundance in your life, because it makes it so much easier for you to deal with the challenge. I think it's about keeping things in perspective. And when you're able to keep things in perspective, the bravery doesn't come or isn't required for dealing with life or death situations. Often we make the challenge mean life or death. It really isn't. The bravery comes with saying, I'm staying on path. The bravery comes when you come back to self, come back to center, come back to knowing who it is that you are, what it is that you are creating, and the commitment to being that person day in, day out until you're a match for what it is that you want. That's where the bravery comes in. And guess what? You have got this. You can do this. I believe in you. You just have to believe in you. This is it for me today. I hope that you have loved this episode. And if you have, do me a favor, just share it with one person. Like, click the copy link and share it with one person. Let this be a source of inspiration, motivation, a shift in perspective for somebody that you love and care about today. And in the meantime, please remember that faith plus action equals miracles. Thank you for listening to Infinite Receiving with me, Susie Ashworth. I'd love to share with you my Infinite Receiving activation audio. Go to susieashworth.com/activate infinite receiving.